Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Poonam Chawla, an assistant professor with Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies in Rohini. Today we are going to discuss on the interesting subject of aligning training with organizational HR strategy. The inclusions of the module are an introduction to the topic, the strategic training and development process, organizational characteristics that influence training, training needs in different strategies, models for organizing the training department, and the summary. To give you an introduction, the business strategy of an organization has a considerable impact on the kind of training that occurs and the amount of resources that are spent on the training. The strategy of the firm plays a key role in type, level, and skills required by the firm. It is important to mention here that strategy has a considerable impact on the following decision making related to training: the amount of training devoted to current or future job skills, level of customization in the training process to adjust the needs of a specific employee, or it is developed on the basis of needs of a team or division. To assess and decide whether training is open to all or is restrained to a fewer audience. For instance, the company may like to train people who have been only shortlisted for managerial positions. The process of training should be proactive in nature or reactive in nature. The importance of training vis-a-vis other functions of human resource management. Strategic training and development process. The changes in the dynamic business world has made the organizations realize the importance of learning for meeting the business challenges and gaining sustainable competitive advantage. With organizations adopting proactive approach towards this broader role of training and learning, organizations must possess 7 key capabilities which are listed below. Number 1, aligning training objectives with organizational objectives. Secondly, measuring the resultant outcome of training on business. Third, movement of the training function outside the organization to involve customers, vendors, and suppliers. Fourth, concentrate on developing critical competencies required for important and critical jobs. Fifth, integrate training with other practices like knowledge management, performance management, etc. Sixth, approaches to delivery of training which also includes classroom as well as e-learning. And the last being design and development of leadership courses. Let's see the steps in the strategic training and development process. First step, classify the business strategy of the firm, followed by identifying strategic training and development initiatives. Third, provide training and development activities linked to strategic training and development initiatives. Fourth, identify and collect matrix to show training success. It is the first step, classify the business strategy of the firm. There are 3 factors that have a significant impact on the business strategy of the firm and help in picturing the strategy of the firm, namely mission, vision, values, and goals. The top management of the organization usually determines the mission, vision, values, and goals of the firm. The mission statement is the primary reason for which the firm exists. The mission statement includes the consumers, the organization, business of the firm, and the value received by the consumer from the company. The vision refers to where the company wants to be in the future or what it wants to achieve. Values are what the organization stands for. Secondly, identification of SWOT analysis, which involves the critical analysis of the operational environment so that opportunities and threats as well as strengths and weaknesses of the company are identified. And thirdly, the organization has to identify its competition, wherein it has to assess where to compete, how to compete, and with what to compete. It is the second step. Identify strategic training and development initiatives. Strategic training and learning initiatives are learning related actions that an organization takes to reach its business goals. These initiatives are tailor made for every organization depending upon the organization's industry, its objectives, and capabilities. These initiatives emerge from the organizational goals, business environment, and potential training and development options, as these activities act as pilot guidelines to develop learning activities. It also puts light on the fact that how training and development function can act as a contributory utility in reaching the superordinate objectives of an organization. Usually, once these strategic initiatives are taken, there is a disconnect that is observed between the strategy and execution of the strategy. To avoid such a situation, training and development executives must be in constant connect with their managers so that these initiatives are well in sync with the business strategy of the firm, and they have the necessary support in terms of resources like finance to carry out these activities. It also takes into consideration issues which are related to people and culture. Provide training and development activities linked to strategic training and development initiatives. Once an organization has chosen its strategic training and development initiatives, it must classify the activities that may enable these initiatives to be achieved. These activities may incorporate utilization of new technology in training, enhanced access to training programs for certain group of employees, decreasing the developmental time for employees, and providing innovative offerings. A classic example for the same is the American Express Training and Developmental Program for Customer Service Section, in which the new employees undergo 8-week training program which facilitates them and help them in building and solidifying the organization customer base. The initial days in the 8-week training program goes into learning about the company's investment and practicing the manner in which they will work with the financial advisors and clients. Once the employees are finished with their training and they start working with actual clients, they undergo continuous training of 2 weeks every year, which is a mix of classroom and web-based training program and involves subjects like financial products, changes in security regulations, etc. Identify and collect metrics to show training success. Strategic training process simply does not end up with aligning training goals with the business strategy of the firm. It involves identifying and collecting outcome measures or metrics that may be used to measure training success or effectiveness. Balanced scorecard approach is used by various organizations to look at the business performance of the company. The balanced scorecard measures the performance of the company on primarily four parameters, namely customers, internal, innovation and learning, financial. Metrics that can be used to assess the training and development contribution on the balanced scorecard includes the number of employees trained and training costs. Organizational characteristics that influence training. The level and extent of training in an organization is influenced by the kind of training organization is giving to its employees and the role that employees and managers play in it. There should be consistent top level support to training. Organizations' degree of integration of business units by their global presence, by its business conditions, by other human resource practices, staffing strategies, human resource planning, extent of unionization, and its involvement in training. Training needs in different strategies. There are four types of primary business strategies, namely concentration strategy, internal growth, external growth, and disinvestment. And it cites the implication for each training practice that we will use in these strategies. We must know that these strategies are distinct and different in terms of the goal of the business. Let's start with the concentration strategy. A concentration strategy focuses on enhancing the market share, decreasing costs, and developing a marketing niche for your product and service. Those organizations that are pursuing concentration strategy need to consistently improve their product quality, enhance productivity, and customize their offering depending on the need of the consumer. The major issues related to enhance the skill currency and need for development of the existing workforce. The training implication in this strategy are team building, cross training, specialized programs, interpersonal skills training, etc. Let us move to the internal growth strategy. The internal growth strategy focuses on identifying new markets and product development, innovation, and joint ventures. This strategy can be achieved by marketing existing products in the new market and by also making an addition in the distribution channels. The identification of new markets may lead to the demand of new jobs and task innovation, and thus the need to train the workforce in the same record. It would require training of the workforce in terms of high quality communication of product value, cultural training. It requires development of cultural training that will value creative thinking and analysis and enhance technical competence in jobs and focus on managerial training in feedback and communication. External growth strategy. An external growth strategy focuses on acquiring vendors and suppliers or buying businesses that shall facilitate the firm to expand in newer markets and bases. It involves taking over firms that are working at the same level in product market chain and acquire business that can supply or buy products or take over firms that do not have anything common with the firm. The various issues that face training are redundancy, restructuring, etc. It also requires determination of capability of employees in the organization that have been taken over, team building amongst the merged firms, and development of shared culture amongst the workforce of the merged entities. Disinvestment strategy. The disinvestment strategy focuses on liquidation and divestiture of business. The major focus in the disinvestment strategy is on retrenchment, turnaround, divestiture, and liquidation. The major issues the organization faces is to reduce costs, assets, generate revenue, redefine goal, or sell the complete assets. The major issue in this kind of strategy is to enhance efficiency. Training implications in this case involve motivation, goal setting, time management, stress leadership training, interpersonal communication, job search skills for the workforce. There are various models of organizing the training department. An organization can use these various models to organize their own training department. The various models are faculty model, customer model, matrix model, corporate university model, and business embedded model. Let us discuss the faculty model. The faculty model resembles the structure of a college. It is headed by a director with a team of experts who have expert knowledge in a specialized area. Now, these specialists are involved in development and upgradation of training programs. There are various benefits associated to it. Firstly, the trainers should be specialists in their field. Secondly, the plan of the training department is determined by the experts, but the poor side of the model is that sometimes organizations who use faculty model end up developing a training function that may have the expertise, but it does not meet the criteria and requirements of the organization. Sometimes the trainers in the faculty model are not able to address the needs of the firm and are unwilling to adapt to fit in a business need. This may result in uninterested trainees as the content does not meet their requirements. These disadvantages can be overcome by the trainers by keeping in constant touch with their target audience and develop training content which is meaningful to the participants. The customer model. Training departments that are designed according to the customer model are responsible for the training needs of one division or function of the company. For instance, trainers may develop programs for the marketing or operations department. These trainers may or may not be the specialists, and in some cases they may be generalists whose job responsibilities involve variety of human resource functions like training, performance management, etc. In the case of customer model, the training is integrated with all other functions of human resource responsibilities. Trainers are expected to be aware of the business needs and update course and content to reflect them. This will lead to meaningful development of course material for the trainees. The major disadvantage of this model is that trainers have to invest a huge amount of time learning the business model of the organization. Chances are that these programs may differ in terms of effectiveness leading to difficulty for the training director to oversee each function. Sometimes trainers are people from the functional area itself who have expertise but make training skills and instructional design. The customer model is depicted in the picture in the next slide. Matrix model. In the matrix model of training, trainers report to the manager in the training department and a manager in the specific functional area. The trainer has the dual responsibility of being a trainer and as well as a functional expert. For instance, the communication trainer shall report to the marketing director and he will also report to the training director, thus highlighting duality in command. The advantages associated with this is that training is linked to the needs of the business and the trainer has the privilege to understand the specific business function. But the major issue with the matrix model is that trainers might have to face time demands and conflicts as they have to follow a dual chain of command. A pictorial representation of matrix model is given in the next slide. Let us come to corporate university model. The corporate university model differs from the other models as the client base does not include employees and managers only, but it also involves other stakeholders outside the firm. You can say like colleges, high schools, etc. The training function which is established under this model tends to offer variety of programs and courses and focuses on the fundamental that the best training practices are utilized in one unit are also utilized in other parts of the company. Corporate universities help in using new technologies to the organization. A pictorial representation of corporate university model is given in the next slide. Business embedded model. The business embedded model is highlighted through 5 competencies, namely strategic direction, product design, structural versatility, product delivery, and accountability for results. Strategic direction involves a clearly described goal and accountability for results. It involves customizing the learning experience according to the needs of the target audience as it considers them as their audience. The major difference between the business embedded model and a traditional training department is the structure. The traditional training department have a silo approach, whereas the experts operate with a fixed number of trainers and administrators who perform the specific function of instrumental design. On the contrary, in the business embedded functions, all persons involved in the training process communicate and share resources. These trainers do not have any specialized competency but also serve as internal consultants and provide a wide range of services. The summary of the module. This chapter focuses on the fundamental that how a training department can act as a source of competitive advantage and the manner in which it facilitates to reach business goals and objectives. The change in work roles, organizational factors, the role of training, influence the amount of training and type and kind of training as well in the organization of the training function. This module throws light on the process of strategic training and development. It also highlights how different strategies influence the goals and help in creation of training needs. This module discusses the various training modules like faculty model, customer model, matrix model, corporate university model and business embedded model. Thank you very much. I hope that you understood the module well.